Hello and welcome to the Footy Times Premier League Review Show. We are back again. So this time we thought we do something a little bit different. I think we said this last time as well. So this time we thought we'd do a midway review of the season, so to speak, rather than just discuss particular games. Since we are kind of halfway through the season, most teams having played 19 games. Before we head in there, though, as ever, please do subscribe, like, share. Your likes really help us. It takes you just 1 second to do it, but then it really helps us promote our videos and keep making more content. And just keep making more videos in the future. So this time, as you can see, we have a slightly bigger crew. We have two more members who've joined our crew. Please welcome Purav, who's a Liverpool fan, and Yash, who is a Manchester City fan. I know there are not too many of them. We managed to get hold of one somehow. So
The
without
jokes about
further
putting
ado,
a
I
blank
think
screen for City fans, well, we actually have filled the blank, but
yeah. So hopefully that can be a differentiator for us. So anyway, let's head straight in. I think we've got a lot to talk about this particular show. So I think we should start with the story of the season so far. Nobody saw them coming. Nobody knows how they're there. But Manchester United are top of the table. Sheldon, take it away. How did this happen?
Yes, how did this happen? I guess we started winning games for a change. I mean, I think what we've lacked mainly was consistency, especially if you've noticed for the past 3 to 4 years now, whoever the key to winning the title has always been consistency and winning, making sure you grind those wins whenever you're not playing well as well. And we've learned, or rather, we forgot how to kind of grind out games when Fergie was post Fergie, and now we've kind of learned to kind of grind those wins out. We've done those with quite a few recently with Burnley, even Fulham. We were struggling to win, but we kind of ended up winning that game pretty. Try get. I've always said that we've always wanted to get those three crucial points in order to keep pace with the league leaders, and right now we are sort of leading the pack. So that's kind of a change, and it's a pleasant change for a change. I'm not kind of moaning on this video. I'm the happy fan in that sense, and the I it got a little concerning for me when Bruno's form started dipping in the past. I think since the Man City game uh, since our loss to Man City in the EFL Cup, and since then he hasn't been. I mean, we are so used to, or rather spoiled, to getting at least an assist or a goal in every game that we started doubting that, oh, Bruno, he's going through his bad patch. Is that going to be crucial as far as Man United keeping pace? But the other folks have stepped up, especially Paul Pogba. He has come to the forefront and has put in really, really good performances. Most notably, especially when most notably against Liverpool in the FA Cup, in the fourth round of the FA Cup, where we were a goal down and we came back to win the game, which showed a lot of determination to come back and win games, especially against a team like Liverpool. So I feel we've so far, you could say that this season has been mostly about grabbing points against the lesser teams, and no offense to them, but not against the top six. I don't think we've managed to kind of scrape even a win against the big six, is what we call them. Uh, I think we've gotten like 1 point against, or rather 2 points, one against Chelsea and one against Leicester City. The others, so no wins at all registered. So this win against, even though it's the FA Cup, win against Liverpool was really crucial in that sense. It kind of gives us confidence going into the latter half of the season. I mean, it's still 19 games has only been completed, but given the time frame, all it feels like a lot more that had. But for the remainder of the season, it's going to be really, I don't know, it's going to be crucial in the sense that I was hoping that since the transfer window is open, we would get at least a centre back in. That seems to be like the hot topic. Every team out there,
You're
Avinash.
not the one who needs to set back.
it's
Come to that later.
yeah. I mean, you okay. You probably know my frustration of Maguire and Lindelof, and the chemistry just doesn't work out. And with Bai coming in those what do you call, has been putting in really good performances, which has resulted in those victories. However, there's always been a question mark on his fitness and his ability to be fit throughout the season. So that's one thing, I mean, has always been at the back of my mind. And Maguire, once again, I mean, he can he has a good run of games where he performs really well, but then there are times when he'll make the stupidest of mistakes, and you're like, you start. I mean, I've always questioned him, so it's not something new to me, but it's really frustrating for a United fan to see it like that. I mean, I can see that smirk from Yash over there because he's got Diaz and Stones with that wonderful partnership they have got going, and clean sheets. I think they've got like 16 clean sheets, which is enviable in a way. But
You can say that.
what do you say?
You can say that it's enviable.
Yeah, it is. I think it's.
Can we just move on from centre back partnerships and talk about something else?
Centre back, yeah, we can talk about striker partnerships, but you won't like that either.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, for Manchester United, I mean, I'm still not Ollie in.
What does he need to do to
we'll have
get
to
you
assess.
in the camp, Sheldon?
I mean, it's still half the season. It's too early to speak. If we can continue this pace and probably, put ourselves in a position to challenge for the title, when it comes to the next, what do you call, the final 5 games of the season or something, and if we are still in there challenging, I think then I would say he deserves to get an extension, possibly a 3-year extension. So let's see.
Do you think United need a backup right back also instead of a centre back priority wise?
I
Because Van
You know
Bissaka
what?
has been playing like every game, man. Like that guy, he needs a breather, and
I would
Yes,
even
yes,
say,
yes.
do you need an
I
upgrade
agree.
in the right back area?
I
Yeah,
agree.
going
I
forward.
think, I mean, I
Yeah.
don't rate Van Bissaka. I mean, obviously, he doesn't offer much as far as his attacking prowess is concerned. He's usually he goes to the halfway line, he'll pass it, or even if he goes to the byline, he'll pass the ball back. So it can get a little frustrating as well from that side, perspective. But as far as, I mean, we do have Tuanzebe, who's actually not bad at filling in when required. We did lose out on Poshu Mensah to Bayern Leverkusen, so it's, and we did also, one of our prospects of Ethan Laird has, I think he's left for Sheffield United or some other club. I can't remember off the top of my head, but so we are kind of light on that side. But I feel like Tuanzebe, or worse come to worse, Lindelof can fill in over there and Bailly can play at centre back. So for the for the remainder of the season, I think we should be good. But you know what, I was really hoping that we could add Max Aarons from Norwich. I think he's a terrific player, very young, and has that attacking. But I don't know much about his defensive game, so it's you've got to have a happy medium at this point in time. I don't know if I mean, apart from Diallo, if you're going to add any more players. And I don't know if any of the teams, including Liverpool and Man City, are going to add any players this window either. So let's see.
Actually, yeah. So you mentioned one thing about grinding out wins, right? So
Yeah.
not taking credit away from Manchester United, but if you see the last few games, they're playing well, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel like they are dominant. I feel like a lot of the breaks have gone their way in certain situations. Like if you think about starting from the Wolves game, right? That was a deflected goal from Rashford. Villa was a very even game. I thought it could have gone either way when it was 1-1, and you get a penalty. Yeah, I'm not going to talk about whether it was dodgy or not, but it may not have been
Penalty.
at the end of the day. But that's fair. That's fair. I mean, you won it, you scored. Burnley was a deflected goal as well. Fulham up worldy from Pogba, and out of 10 times, how many times have they scored that? I don't know. So yeah, I mean, I don't think any team is dominant at this point in time. Like City and Liverpool have set the standard for the last 2 seasons, and nobody is coming close to that this season. So that's fine. But do you think this is sustainable? That's my question.
Honestly speaking, I don't think we have been playing well like throughout the game for 90 minutes as such. It's been in patches. We've been able to still win and keep ourselves in the in the chase. I think that's okay for now. But I think Rashford is coming into his own. He just needs to be clinical, and then also we've added Diallo. I think he could be a game changer in the remainder of the season. He offers that extra bit of width on the right wing, which we don't really have. So, and creativity and pace. So he could add a little bit of dimension on that front as far as scoring goals are concerned. Yes, we've yeah, we've had issues scoring goals. I mean, we've not won convincingly. Like I said, we've had to grind a lot of results and stuff. But you know what? It we'll have to see. I guess there isn't much more we can start. I guess we could start. We could start playing games early on rather than waiting for the second half. We seem to be playing more. We seem to be conceding goals first, and that seems to be like the trigger for us to go ahead and attack. So it's like it's almost as good as saying that we should probably start off with just giving a goal right from the kickoff to the other team. But I mean I'm not concerned. I mean, with the fixtures coming up, Sheffield
Arsenal.
United. I'm gonna say we could win against Arsenal.
With the current form?
Okay. Yeah, with the current form, I think we can. Especially, I think our midfield can.
I mean, yeah, it's an away game for United, a home game for Arsenal.
And honestly speaking, I mean, our away form has been phenomenal. I think we've had some ridiculous number of wins. So you know what? It probably is in our favor to go to the Emirates and grab those 3 points.
Okay.
Isn't United the best team when it comes to like coming from behind and winning the
points from losing
match?
positions?
I think 21 points.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, so right now,
it was Liverpool's calling card last season, but not quite that.
I still don't feel convinced by Ole, but I think something is working out for United this season. I mean, with Bruno, with Pogba.
Pogba stepping up is. I think he's playing for a move, but whatever it is,
getting his victories.
That's what I was going to say.
Is concerning because he can be a game changer.
Pogba is playing for a move, but he can be brilliant for
that, and also the fact that I'll give Ollie a little bit of credit. He's tried the different formations, like with the 4-4-2 diamond and the 4-2-3-1, whatever. So he's kind of chopped and changed and rotated people. I think that has been the most important thing you got to do this season, at least, is try and keep everyone as fresh as possible. I do have my concerns, like Purav mentioned about Aaron Van Bissaka has played practically the entire time, all of those games, and even Maguire and Bruno. So those 3 players will be crucial if they can remain fit and keep their good form in that sense. So, but then again, it's the league is very, everyone's so close to each other. I mean, if you lose 2 games, you're in probably 8th spot, and if you're one of those teams that has been in 8th spot and has won 3 games in a row, you're probably competing for the title. So it's it's too early to say for any team right now, I feel.
Yeah.
Do you think Ole will start sacrificing his Europa League games when they begin? Because I don't think you can
ask you on
keep
this.
playing the same 11.
I don't know. I feel that Europa, yes. If we are in the hunt for, I think the league's going to be the more important one compared to the both of them. I think he will probably play a strong team in the Europa League, but I
Later
think at the
stages.
end of the day, it is the league trying to get.
What would
Uh,
United fans prefer? Like, would you rather have United like be in a title challenge with City, but not win a trophy and be like 5-6 points behind City, or would you rather be like top four guaranteed, but like 15-ish points behind City, but you win a trophy like FA Cup or Europa League? Because Ole has lost quite a few semi-finals, right? Like you
yeah.
has
I
that
think we've lost.
pressure on him.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, as a United fan, though, I feel like if we can pose a title challenge, it shows a lot of growth in that sense. Winning cups, yes, it's silverware, and I would love to have a FA Cup or a Europa. But then the thing is, if it's on cup games as such, it can go either way. It depends who's the best on that specific day. The league shows that if you're kind of good throughout the season, and that's the sort of progress I want to see. In my team at least. So if we can be there with for 3 points or probably even winning the league for that matter, yeah, I would definitely hold that more higher in that sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one last thing I wanted to say was we've gone in on Oli in the past for not instilling the right mentality. We've spoken about consistency of style, consistency of mentality. So I don't know about the style of play, but definitely I think we have to give him credit for instilling the right mentality, because I see that one thing is coming from behind, so that's been there, and even otherwise, I feel like they're turning up for pretty much all games, rather than I think that's the key. Like you said, it's almost been the situation's been flipped. Now beating the lesser teams and sort of not doing so well against the bigger teams. But the reason they're beating the lesser teams is because they're turning up and they're putting their best, working harder and earning the right to play. I think we've spoken about this a few times. So I think for that you have to give props to Oli. Whether that's sustainable, I think we'll wait and see.
I do want to give a shout out. I mean, I didn't mention this, but I do want to give a shout out to Cavani. I think he coming in the team definitely, with his leadership capabilities along with Bruno, has definitely lifted the team. So yeah.
Yeah, and definitely those personalities have helped probably in instilling that. So yeah, I guess we'll leave it at that and move across Manchester to, well, I don't know if the challengers are outright favorites now, but yeah, Yash, stage is yours.
So yeah, I will just kind of try to, like, if you look at the start of the, like, first of all begin with the end of the last season when we were way behind Liverpool, uh, and then the transfer sagas that went on throughout the summer, who we were getting, we didn't know, like, till the last day. We were after Koulibaly, we were after Jules Koundé, and somehow we didn't. We always felt we were in for Koulibaly, but I think City didn't want to deal with De Laurentiis.
Napoli.
So yeah, so on the last week, we come to know that okay, Otamendi and Diaz are going to be swapped with a player plus cash deal. I think none of us knew who Diaz was, or like
I did.
how good he is really. That's good. So
Portuguese.
I mean, for me, it just I didn't expect Stones to be fit. So Stones, Mendy, I think these two players have been such a big enigma for City. Since the time they have signed for us, we haven't really seen either of them play consistent games, show what they can really do. And then after Diaz came in, we kind of started to see the player we have got. And I'm still surprised that Stones has managed to keep Laporte out of the team, because I'm pretty sure that Diaz was going to be the starter since the time he came in. But Stones has been playing the way, I think
Revelation.
Pep likes his defenders to pass, to dribble, to run through the midfield. And I think what Stones is showing us is something that we haven't even seen from Laporte, like in terms of the runs he makes at times, just going past the opposition team and trying to put in a final pass. And so I think Stones and Diaz will be. I think initially we didn't really. Uh, I think I wouldn't say gel well, but I think uh, we were still kind of in a transition, because Pep is now turning into a two defensive midfielders now. That is something new for a Pep team, seeing two defensive midfielders starting almost every game, with Rodri, Fernandinho, and Gundogan. So I think it took a while to get us into that style of play, into that system, because initially we did leak a lot of goals. We did, I think even versus Wolves, the first game we won, but we did concede a couple of goals. And then it was one of the worst defeats in Pep's time under, versus Leicester. So that kind of, at that point, we felt like, okay, we are just done for the season. We won't be able to challenge for the title. And I think the form in which Aston Villa started, or even Leicester started, it was like, okay, we are definitely going to have a different champion this year. I think then slowly we started to click. I feel the centre back pairing is making the biggest difference right now. And then Cancelo has been one of my top picks for this season in terms of City players. I think he always had the skills. He always had that eye for a pass. But somehow I was reading that initially it took him a while to understand what exactly Pep wanted of him. And looks like now he has understood his role, or he's starting to understand the role better and better. And I feel he too is one of the most important players for us at the moment.
That's
Uh, even though we are not, I think we still lack a completely out and out striker, because without Aguero,
I was just
I know
about
that
to say
it's
that.
just impossible to replace Aguero. It's just impossible to replace Aguero with any other
Jesus.
striker.
He's not been good.
I would give him away for free if you wanted. I mean, if any team wants him, I would just give him away for free. But I think Jesus hasn't just clicked, or maybe he is doing so much of other stuff that he has forgotten his striker's instincts when in box. Because sometimes I feel that he isn't sharp in the box, because he has to do a lot of other running around, a lot of pressing.
I actually,
From top.
it's a good thing you mentioned that, because I think quite a few of the games I've noticed his average position. It was even behind De Bruyne. So
Yeah, I
you're
think he
absolutely
comes
right.
all the way back into City's own half to defend sometimes. So I think that's what Pep wants from his strikers. But at the same time, I think you should not be losing your striker's instinct, especially when you don't have Aguero to give you those
And
goals.
just talking
And
about KDB, I was about to say that City have been doing this without KDB at his best, actually. So that was pretty surprising for me,
yes,
to be honest. Without a striker.
Also, Sterling has been pretty much out of form, right? Like throughout the season, he hasn't really clicked.
Sterling, you said, right?
Yeah,
Sterling, right?
Sterling.
Yeah. I don't know. I think Sterling Sterling, I always felt that Sterling can score goals, but whenever I see Sterling's goal in replays, I feel somewhere he has not connected the ball very well, but it has went in. That is the feeling I always get. Uh, that he's trying to go for a goal, but it just doesn't connect well and still finds the back of the net. But I think this season Sterling has been off form totally. I think with Sane and when we had Sane, we had Silva. I think Sterling always got the pretty good tap-ins. Yeah. So he would always be present in front of the net, and someone would just give him a perfect cross, and he just had to direct the ball into the net. Now, without a proper striker, I think he's trying to do a lot on himself. Like by himself, he's trying to dribble, he's trying to shoot, he's trying to maybe score from tight angles. But I feel that I will just write off this season for Sterling because I think for us this season is all about the centre back pairing. Like at least finally the defense looks like a proper defensive unit. For the first time, we have seen a consistent, at least consistently, we have been seeing three players starting: Walker, Cancelo, Diaz, and Stones. I mean, Walker and Cancelo have been switching around or maybe swapping games, but at least we have a good centre back pairing. I don't know about left back. I think left back is still our weak spot, and I think it will be a weak spot for some more
Hasn't
time.
Cancelo played there for a bit?
Yeah, he did. I think when Walker plays, Cancelo generally starts at left back.
It's very versatile as well, which is, I think Cancelo has been a revelation along with Stones.
Yeah.
The fact that he can
I have
back positions and have a similar output almost.
Yeah,
Also,
and if you
that,
look
right?
at Cancelo's skills on the ball, I think I have seen him play very well for Portugal, where he can find some amazing crosses uh, from the wide areas. And I think now I'm seeing that with him this year in City team, where he can find some really outstanding passes, like in the final third. And sometimes you feel that it's he's the second best passer after KDB
Oh
when
wow.
he's very advanced. At least for the final third passes, that's where I see that he finds the passes which I would say KDB would be proud of. So uh, and I think at the in the middle, I think Gundogan has been our best player so far. In the last, I think in the last 5 games, he has been scoring. I think almost every game. And I always felt that he was never the same player that he was at Dortmund, maybe because of his injuries. But this season looks like he's past his bad phase. He is fully fit. I see I think his physical game is really nice in the way he turns when in possession of the ball, or his uh, long passes. I feel he can be like very devastating when giving some long crosses from the deep. So yeah, I think this year it's more like a full team effort. Not a single player is just leading us into the title race. I feel like the entire team is putting in good efforts to be there.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So you mentioned the centre back pairing, and that's definitely a big change from last season. But he seems to have found a way to compensate for Aguero's absence, and that was a big struggle, I thought, in the first part of the season. Now you have this fluid, I don't know, many false nines who keep interchanging, and
Yeah.
there was a lot of talk about that recently, how it was, teams are finding it hard to defend against. So how do you see a difference there? Is something changed in the way you attack? Because I don't
So
watch City week in, week out.
so if you look at the number of goals we have scored, right? I still think that we are still behind in terms of that output, in terms of goals. But I think what Pep has managed to do, and maybe that's why he went to two defensive midfielders to begin with, that if the goals dry up, we at least should not be leaking goals.
Yeah.
And I think this season we have been managing that very well, where we are not leaking goals. Actually, initially we did, but maybe that was a transition phase for the new style of play. Uh, but I still feel that at times we do feel that an out-and-out striker would have just buried a goal. When I see Sterling or maybe Jesus miss a easy one-on-one, I still feel that okay, maybe that can be a problem uh, when you, let's say, start playing Champions League games against some of the really best European teams. And I'm hoping that by then Aguero will be there. But in terms of, I think, false nines, we have seen KDB play there. We have seen Ferran Torres come in multiple games. So I think KDB playing as false nine was a pretty nice try, and I think it did work out well. KDB can be a pretty good, I think, shot taker. So I don't think it would be a bad idea to see him more often in that role. And I think Ferran Torres, I feel, has a very good presence in the box. He reads he has that uh, striker's instinct to kind of look for a tap in or run in behind the defenders, which I find is something positive for us. Maybe not this season, but in the coming seasons, I think he will come good. And other than that, I think Foden has been a pretty nice player for us as well. I feel he should be playing more often, considering that he provides that energy. Like he's always running around. If he can give us that output week in week out, I think we will be there. We will be fine.
I think it's a pretty scary thought that Man City is doing so well, and KDB hasn't been to his best. Aguero has barely played a game, and Sterling, like you said, has been off form. So without those three crucial players, you wouldn't have won the league. You know, previously, and these three, without these players, you guys have been in a really good position. So it's a really ominous, feeling for a Man United fan, or I don't know, for a Liverpool fan too, maybe.
Which is probably a good segue.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we should have been in this conversation, but we are not. Pura, welcome to you first before I talk. What's happening? What's been going wrong?
So for Liverpool, right? I think we started the season quite well. Like I was happy with the transfer window, the way it went. Like we got Thiago, we got Jota. Like Jota, I didn't think that his impact would be that good for us. Like I didn't think he'll, challenge the front three positions right away. But the way he, took his chances, like he was undroppable in some of the games, like Atlanta away, right? The hat trick that he scored, like some of his play was really good. So I felt the transfer window was good. Like, yeah, we could have signed a center back, but like with three senior center backs, right? Van Dijk, Gomez, Matip, and with Fabinho trying to deputize there, I thought it was a sound plan because we have like 7 or 8 midfielders, right? So we have to give them minutes also. And with Thiago coming in, Henderson and Wijnaldum, these three being the mainstays, and Kaita, Chamberlain, Milner, right? We have decent backups also. So I'm not too worried about the transfer window. I thought we had a decent start, like with the Leeds game, right? Like that was a brilliant game of football to kickstart the season. 4 goals at Anfield, like a thriller. But I think our season started to crumble in the Everton game. Like
Aston Villa.
Aston Villa, I got over it
I
pretty
know what you
quickly.
mean when Van Dijk got injured.
Yeah, but like I got over pretty quickly
Started around.
with Villa. I was like, this is a freak show, right? Like 3 deflected goals. It might not happen again. But like once Van Dijk got injured and Thiago got injured in the same game from the rash Richarlison tackle, Pickford was not sent off. Our last minute goal was disallowed for like a toenail offside. Like it just sort of, it felt like so deflating. Like, and I'm sure it's the same for Liverpool players as well, right? Like watching Van Dijk, like the colossus that he is, and right away we knew that this is a season-ending injury. So like our season, like that was a big turning point in our season, like Everton game I felt. But still after that, right, we had Gomez playing in like, but again he got injured just standing himself, playing by himself in England training. I don't understand that. And once Gomez got injured, we should have made plans. Like contingency plans should have been in place. We haven't seen it yet, so that's very disappointing from FSG point of view. And the story of a season is just injuries. Like I I remember we had Allison injured for a time. We had third choice goalkeeper Kelleher playing in a Premier League game. Like our centre backs, we've injured. Like here's a trivia question for you guys: how many centre back pairings did Liverpool have this season?
8.
6.
8?
I think I got that.
The answer is 14.
It's total.
So you can't expect Klopp to, like whatever, wherever we are right
5.
now, I think we are kind of right where
How
we
many?
should be over the season. Like 14 centre back pairings is just unheard of, right? Like, and Gomez got injured, Trent got injured in the City game, like he was out for a couple of weeks. Then we come back, like Kaita has been, I don't know, forever injured. He got injured at the very start of the season for
Thank you,
first
guys.
few months, 2.5 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then in the other big turning point I felt was the Midgetland game, the sixth Champions League game. I still don't understand why Klopp prioritized, that game so much, because we were guaranteed to be top of the group. And he started Trent, he started Salah, he started Jota that game. Jota got injured. He played 87 minutes, Jota, and he got injured. Costas, the backup left back that we signed, right? Simicas, he got injured in that game for like 2 months. And I still, like people say, right, like it's Jota needs minutes and all, but at that time Jota was part of the first team. We had to consider him as as a key 14, 15 player that will carry us, right? So yeah, I think I personally feel that's where Klopp made a mistake. Jota shouldn't have been risked, and I think Salah played like full 90 minutes. And I remember in the next Premier League game we were drawing 1-1. I forget which team was it, and Salah was subbed off because he was tired
Brighton?
at 65th minute. So yeah, Brighton. Yeah, it just didn't make sense to me. Yeah, the Midgetland game. And like coming back to the recent form, right? Like last month has been pretty much a torture watching Liverpool, to be honest. Like because we are used to these levels, right? Incredible levels that these players have set us. Like 2.5 years of brilliant non-stop football, and it was going to, like our streak that we lost, right, against Burnley, it was going to come to an end for sure sometime. But like the way it did, right? Like I think anyone could see it coming. Like the way we were playing for last 5-6 games, like we dropped points to Steve Bruce, we dropped points to Big Sam team, we dropped points against Southampton. I think Southampton were pretty good, but again that was a goal that we gave away, right, with Trent making the mistake. And the only 2 games that we've won in the last 1 month is when Minamino started. I don't understand this Minamino situation, to be honest. He got a goal in the Palace game. I think he got an assist as well. He did not get any minutes after that. And then in the Villa game, like the FA Cup game, when we played the under-18s of Villa, he got an assist as well. And we didn't see much of him. So I feel there's a good player in him there, especially because our front three were out of form. We are starting Origi over Minamino. I don't get that because we were planning to offload Origi in summer as well as in Jan window. So right now, I think our season depends. Yeah.
Is Minamino like lightweight? Is that?
I mean, I feel that physicality-wise, right? Like the teams that we were playing, Burnley and all, he might have been lightweight for those teams. But when we played Minamino when he was at Salzburg, right? He was brilliant at Anfield. Like he scored a goal, he got an assist. Like he has always looked decent. I mean, the way that our front three were playing, right? Someone had to be dropped. So I was surprised that Minamino didn't get his chance. Not even few
So
minutes.
do you think that Firmino might be the weakest link in terms of goal scoring output right now in the
I think
Liverpool's
it's always
front
been the
three?
case. It's just
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he
we
brings a
had
lot
our
more
right
to the
players
team
who are pathetic for it.
usually. But like, yeah, last 12 months,
Because
like in the last season.
I was actually reading one of the Sky Sports articles by Carragher where he mentioned that every front three requires like has a life cycle. So
3 years.
like
Yeah.
within few years you have to kind of replace at least one of them
And I
to
think we did
freshen
that with
things up.
Jota signing, right? With the Jota signing, we did that, and Jota was getting a lot of minutes. Like he was starting quite big games for us, like
Right,
against Man City away, right? Klopp decided to start all four. Like that surprised every one of us,
right.
and
Yeah,
maybe
that's
that
true.
was the plan going forward also. Like so, I felt the front three replacement aspect we are starting to do it slowly in phases. But like, yeah, our season right now depends on the next 5 days. Like, do we have reinforcements or not in center back situation? I've mentioned it before. I would take Mustafi right now. Like, I would take any center back.
Lots of
You
it.
you you saying
Yeah,
that
I would
now?
take any center
You're
back
saying
right
that
now. Like,
now?
give me Gary Cahill, a 35-year-old Gary Cahill. I'll take it. Give me Mamadou Sakho, who Klopp fell out with. I'll take him right now. Like
What
any,
about
because our
Lovren?
backups is Reece Williams, who played like conference football last season, Division 7th. So
Only.
it's a huge ask for him, right? It's unfair on his development also. He should have been ideally in a loan situation right now in a League One or a Championship club. And Nathaniel Phillips, he has flattered to deceive most of the times, but he got a clean sheet against Newcastle, even though he was horrible in that game.
He's pretty limited on the ball. That's what I
Exactly.
saw in the Newcastle game. But I
Yeah,
don't
he's
think
not pacey. We are looking to sell him also, right? Like we were looking
yeah.
for offers for him in the summer.
Yeah.
So yeah, any center back available, you can apply to Liverpool, and I'm pretty sure no one will, object to their signing. Like it's just 5 days now. If we don't get a new center back, right? If we go in the season hoping that Matip is fit at least once a week, and that's a huge ask of Matip. Like even like we saw, right? He had to be rested for the big United away game because he can't stay fit over 3 days. Like he can't play 2 games in 3 or 4 days. Like last time he played, he got injured for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and we were in a situation where we were.
When is
Yeah,
VVD
it's
coming back
been
though?
Not
Oh,
this season for sure.
not
oh,
this
it's
season.
almost.
Like
And Gomez?
Unlikely.
Gomez also is most likely out. I think Gomez's injury was, I've
Yeah.
heard,
Oh
worse
wow.
than Van
So then,
Dijk's. So Gomez may be out till like maybe next
I ha-
September or October, like in terms of
Hmm.
fitness, building
so I
his
haven't
fitness and
even
all.
heard like any center backs being linked to Liverpool at this point. What's going on there? Like,
Or there have been
I
plenty
mean,
linked.
not
It's
not
just not
very.
Yeah,
been
yeah, yeah.
I mean,
anything
yeah,
in it.
not very seriously is what I
So
And
feel.
We
by
Sokratis,
saw
right?
that
I
in
think,
previous. It's not nothing concrete, right? That's the problem.
yeah,
Uh,
a loan signing. I don't get why we can't afford a
Militao
loan.
is available on loan.
Yeah, why we can't get a loan signing because they are betting that basically they're placing all their bets on Klopp getting us top four with what we have,
Yeah.
and then in the summer we make push for like Konate or
Upamecano
Upamecano or
is linked
whatever,
to
right?
City, by the way.
But the question is, right, we won't get top four. That's a big question mark that I don't know why FSG is not getting it.
It's
Like they are
basically
supposed to be one of the
I
prime investment bankers, right? These guys, like it's a pretty much risk reward situation.
it's
Like,
basically penny wise pound foolish. That's how I see it.
but like
You have
a
to
5
save a
million
few rupees
investment
here.
right now would save us 100 million Champions League revenues, right, for next season. Like
Even
we
this season,
are
we need to go further in the Champions League. That's a lot of money right there on the table.
exactly, yeah. Like FSG has been, they have made a lot of mistakes. FSG, they've done a lot of great things, like the hierarchy that they've built, right, with Michael Edwards, Gordon, and all these guys. The recruitment team has been top notch. But some of the things that they do, it just really annoys fans. Like, why are you doing it? Like the trademark thing, and yeah, all these. Yeah, I'm not an FSG out guy, of course, but you have a right to criticize what they're doing, right? Like they are our owners after all. And Trent's form has been a big disappointment, but I don't blame him because he has to play with like young centre backs, right? 14 centre back pairings. Like I can imagine what it is being like Trent, because he's primarily our creative. He gives all the crosses that we want in the box, and he has to defend, track back. And Henderson has been missing a lot of games, so like it's been quite chaotic in the back and in midfield. Like we find a problem, we try to fix it, but that leaves us like three or problems more or something.
Yeah, so I want to pick up on that.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest takeaway in the last week or so has been how much we miss our midfield, because there's been a lot of talk the past couple of seasons when we were doing so well that our midfield is one area that can be upgraded, that maybe they don't have the necessary quality, but you truly only realize something when you don't have it. And for me, having, you said, taking Fabinho out of there, putting him at the back, putting Henderson at the back, that's left such a big hole, because from the midfield is what is basically the heartbeat of the team, because they set the stage for everybody else. If you see, our front three are suffering because, contrary to popular belief, our front three are not that clinical. I've often said this over the last couple of seasons. We've not been the best at putting away games. We keep, we keep letting teams stay in the game because we're not able to take those chances on the counter attack and putting teams away. They rely on volume, on how many times they get the ball. And the midfield are key to that, because they basically totally hem teams in. They don't let them get out. They're constantly picking up the second balls, forcing turnovers, recycling the ball. So the ball's pretty much always there in the opposition half. And that's something the front three thrives on. And what it also means that it is very hard to play through us. It's so hard to actually put together a counter attack, because first you have to get past the front three and the first line of defense. Then if you get past the midfield, then there's Van Dijk, then there's Gomez. So it makes it so much easier for the centre backs as well to have that screen in front of them. And then the third thing is the full backs. So our midfielders do a lot of work in covering the space left by the full backs so that they can go forward and create, especially on the right hand side, like you mentioned. With Henderson not being there, Trent has really suffered because he's now having less. He's not able to perform at his optimal in attack because he has to worry about what's behind him, not just from a midfield perspective, but also in terms of the centre back not having Gomez recovery pace and not having his ability to defend out wide. So in a sense, it's the way we are set up. It's a very tight-knit system. It's a very well-built system. It's essentially a back five, front five. You have the two centre backs and three midfielders who sort of provide the protection, and then you have the front five, which is the front three and the full backs. Now if the back five is so shaky and it's constantly changing, there is no foundation. So as much as you can look at the front three struggling and not scoring goals and not having the creativity, it all stems from not having a good base. And that knock-on effect of not having our first choice midfield is actually been massive. So like you said, ideally, not just one. I think we should go and get two centre backs. We could have got, Botman for 25 million and gotten Militao in on loan. Yeah. And then let Fabinho go back into midfield, and we're back to having three CBs and having a first choice midfield, and that would sort things out. But this kind of juggling act, it's just leaving our midfield so open.
Too much for even a manager like Klopp, right? Like
he can't do miracles.
He's transformed this club. He's given fans Champions League. He's given fans Premier League. He's broken the 30-year streak, right? And FSG still penny pinching him is like very disappointing to see. And one more thing that I wanted to add was like Liverpool and Klopp, right? Like both are quite emotional. Like Liverpool is an emotional club. It feeds on the energy of fans. I think not having fans this season has been quite big for Liverpool than any other club. Like we seriously miss the fans. Like I think the United game, right? Like last 30 minutes, had the fans been there, or not only United game, any other home game, right? Like if last 15, 20 minutes had the fans been there, it could have been more like, we could have had more chances, like a deflection or like a Pickford situation, right? They make blunders like at Cop End, right?
Number of goalkeepers who made blunders against us.
Yeah, like Loris also, I remember like in the 98 season, right? In the last minute, Salah, he just fumbled it, and like these things happen only because of the atmosphere that Anfield creates.
Yeah, of course. And like I said, the midfielders, they're constantly picking the ball up. It's like the wave after wave of pressure that we were seeing, which is kind of how we operate. We've never been a team. We're not a Man City type of team who will cut teams to ribbons, play brilliant football. It's always been about relentless pressure. Just, being at the throats of the opposition all the time, and eventually they'll cave. That just isn't there anymore. I'm not seeing that. They're too easy to play through. Teams are getting a lot of joy on the counter-attack. And the fans and, just the intensity that we've operated at for 2.5 years, it's been ridiculous. And even this season, I spoke about this in the last episode as well. We feel like we're constantly having to fight against things. Every week there's a new setback. If it's not injuries, it's something else.
Yeah.
And it's like we've hit a wall. So at this point in time, there's going to be no fans for the rest of the season. So we have to find a way to motivate ourselves, pick ourselves up. Maybe we have to change the patterns of play a little bit because it's getting very predictable. Like just crossing every time. That's basically Trent has resorted to slinging crosses into the box, and that's just not working out.
I think that's one thing that I noticed was different in the FA Cup game. I felt we were more, on the ground. The passing was more crisp.
Yeah.
And Trent didn't make that many crosses. He was actually, cutting in. He was making those low crosses instead of those aimless crosses when we have only one person in the box. Like he was avoiding that. So hopefully, yeah, as you said, right, like Klopp, it's up to Klopp, like, and his genius now to save this season again.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing. I thought the 2 points, the two things you mentioned, right? Putting in aimless crosses and not finishing the chances. I thought they were reserved only for Man City fans, because at times we have felt in the last couple of seasons where, or actually this season in the beginning, where we would create so many chances and not take them. And then the point about crosses, that not having out and out striker in the box. Do you think that plays a role when you are like having a false nine constantly changing positions and running back?
It's just we are not crossing with any intent. We're not crossing early. We're not crossing into space. It's just a case of you're out of ideas. It's too slow. I mean, this is something I observed. It feels like we're taking 2 extra touches every time the ball comes to us in the last few games. And that once you do that, basically it lets the opposition get set into shape. And then it's very difficult, especially when you're doing that against a team like Burnley. They play 75% of the game with their heads. So you're not going to get much joy when you have a packed box and you're trying to just put crosses into the box because you have no other way of breaking them down. When we crossed before, it was always very strategic. It was quick, and it was always about finding somebody at the far post or somebody between the centre backs and basically stretching the defense, right? It's not going to be very successful if you're going to keep doing this against a packed box and a packed defense. So there's a lot of things to work on. Like I said,
I do have something to add. I think obviously the aerial presence of Virgil van Dijk is obviously being missed. He contributed quite a bit in terms of goals as well as the pressure. So that's one thing. The other thing, you know what? It seems to be like a catch-22 situation, because you know what I would say Liverpool's USP or their brand is like like you said, the never dying. The intensity, throughout the game. Now, I feel like that's kind of shot you guys in the foot as well, because it's probably been one of the reasons why you guys have been injured as well. I mean, yes, you do have the occasional, the Virgil van Dijk, which was caused by Pickford. But I feel like the pace of the game at which you guys operate is kind of taking a toll on your players. And I guess Klopp needs to either do a lot more rotation, bring in have a bigger squad, or try and find a different way to kind of operate, like perhaps what Man City does. But that's something I guess we'll have to find out.
Yeah,
but to be honest, I am actually surprised that the intensity with which Liverpool plays, their front three have been ever present since the time Klopp has come in. I have never seen either like any of the front three players get injured and be out for, like, let's say half the season or multiple games at a stretch. So I don't know if it's just mental fatigue or something more physical. So
it's a combination of everything. I think we've already discussed a lot of those things, right? So it's fatigue, it's the team not operating at its optimal because of all these injuries. There's a lack of rotation because even the players who need to be rotated in are injured. And because we are having to play Henderson and Fabinho at the back, we don't have enough options in midfield to rotate as well. So it's just the knock-on effects of the centre-back crisis is actually pretty bad. It's being felt all over the team. I think that's ultimately that's the essence of it. We need to fix the centre-back situation, otherwise it's going to be up and down. So it's just a case of hope for the top four at this point, I guess.
Yeah, probably a good Sorry, go ahead. Finish your thought.
I was just saying, if we keep Matip fit, right, like at least for one game a week, I feel we have a top four chance. Like otherwise, I just can't see
Yeah.
us
But isn't
getting
Yeah,
wins.
it's
but
just something
isn't
I'm
it
not
like
thinking about. It's just very.
Uh,
like just we discussed about City, like City are doing good despite their best players not playing well. I know it's been much more worse for Liverpool because it's like you said, defense and defense is hurting the midfield, and the attackers are not sort of coming into their own. Firmino, Salah, whatever. But this, like, wouldn't that be a true hallmark of the champions if, despite all these things, it's at least sustainable? It's not like you drop and you try to ride the wave until the players come back to form or you find reinforcements.
I think we've. Yeah, Purab, if you want to answer that.
yeah, I mean, I think any team would suffer like if they miss Van Dijk and Gomez center backs, right? Like those two are probably I think they were the best partnership for sure. Like in for at least 2 seasons. And Van Dijk, I mean, for me, he's been the best center back arguably in the Premier League, even though he's just won one trophy, one Premier League. But in terms of talent, right, like he can do anything, defend, attack. I still remember the Spurs game when he defended 2v1. That's kind of the defender, like with Son and Sissoko, right? Like a couple of seasons back. That's why we are playing. That's why our players have the freedom to go up front, attack, because we know we have Van Dijk back there to clear out. I
Yeah.
think any team would miss such defenders without any backup, not even a body. I'm just asking for like a physical center back body there right now. That's my bar. I'm not even asking for like a young experience, like anyone that will anyone because yeah, Reece Williams, right, as you said, they're not ready for this level, and it's not their fault.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we should quickly move on to Arsenal. The
Yeah.
strange thing is, just I want to say this before. Arsenal fans were actually looking at Liverpool for the last couple of seasons and saying that's the model that they need to emulate. You know how we sold Coutinho and got in Van Dijk and Alisson, and that's how they become good again. And how strange it is that now we are looking at Arsenal for inspiration because they were in a similar sort of rut a couple of months ago, and how they've turned it around. It's
Yeah.
almost like we need to do something similar. So, Rahul, yeah, what do you have to say?
Yeah, so that's what, like, I remember specifically you saying this I mean, not few, I think few months back, where Arsenal don't know where the next goal is coming from. And I think,
That's exactly how I
yeah.
feel to Liverpool right now.
So yeah, I would like to keep it short and not jinx how we are doing right now, like how well we are playing these days. Like we had a consecutive streak of like 5 clean sheets, which was insane to think about, including a couple of FA Cup games also in there. So I feel the last couple of months it's been really on the up for us. All the players are clicking. I think now they are sort of you see that old Arteta back, like when at the start of the season or the end of the last season, like that, the intensity that and that, like I don't know how to sort of say that out, but like you could definitely see the difference in Arteta, like when he was there last season and the slump that happened, and now he's sort of back, and you see that same difference on the players also, like the way they are playing on the field. It's pretty much amazing to see that transformation. And it's not like we have changed a lot of players also. Sure, we have brought in Emil Rosmith for the number 10 role, and he's been performing brilliantly. But apart from that, it's really the same set of players. Like Lacazette has been back in scoring goals. Saka, as always, has been the incredible player that he is for us, I feel, this season. Um, Gabriel, who was supposed to be the savior, despite him not being in the team, we have been having those sheets. So I feel like there has definitely been a mentality shift from like in the dressing room overall. I feel the manager, players, and everyone, and that really I think has helped sort of see that uptick in form. Yeah, we went out of the FA Cup and we're not going to defend the title now, but I feel that's sort of a blessing in a way that now I think we can really focus on the top four, and which all with all the things that are going on in the league right now, it definitely seems like it's like a possible thing to do. Like top four, top five is definitely achievable. So yeah, and I think Arsenal are being smart with the transfer window also. I feel we shipped out Socrates and Kolasinac, and Ozil is out of the books. I guess that's the biggest sort of factor that Arsenal. So I feel overall, I think there are a lot of things that are sort of snapping in place for the sustained sort of top four push. I feel, and I don't really have a lot of bad things to say. I think I've had my fair share of bad things to say in the initial part of the whole season. But yeah, I feel like the system has been working for Arteta. The 4-2-3-1 system has been working nicely. Um, Even like all the fringe players are coming in playing nicely. So yeah, I mean, um yeah, I don't know. Like if we have a couple of good signings in the January transfer window, and if we keep the intensity, and I feel like we definitely are going to sort of move towards the top four challenge. I feel, yeah. I mean, that's yeah.
Rahul, I mean, I've heard rumors of Odegaard coming in, being loaned in. How big of a difference is he going to make? Like, what was the purpose of bringing him
So I
in?
think, as we talked about early in in our earlier videos, I think we definitely are missing that creative outlet, and I think he's been brought in. Sure, there is Rose Smith who's playing nicely, but I think he's being brought in for that kind of a role. Like he's sort of like the number 10 sort of role, and he's good at picking passes, picking out players in the final third. And he has a good like link up play and all. So I think he's been brought in to sort of uh, be that link from like Partey and Ceballos up to the strikers. So I definitely feel like he has that skill to sort of fill that void in Arsenal's team, but I don't know how quickly he'll be able to adopt to the whole EPL style of play, because he has been not been playing outside La Liga since like 3-4 years now, and he's a kid, so he doesn't have a lot of experience playing big games. So definitely there is that still that unknown there, but I feel like he's been brought in with an idea of filling that sort of creative um, gap that Arsenal's team is sorely missing. And I feel if he clicks, there's definitely dividends to be reaped over there. I feel, but I don't know. It's
Yeah.
Wasn't Odegaard supposed to be whisked, right, when he went to Madrid? I think that's where he was, right? Odegaard was in Madrid where he was really
yeah.
hyped up, but I think it
He
just
had a
didn't
really
work
good
But
out for
yeah,
season.
him.
Sociedad, he had a that's about I was about to
Same
say
with
that.
us.
Yeah,
Like last
Sociedad,
year,
he
he had a
played really well.
really good season. Like a couple of passes that he picked, it was pretty brilliant. Like, anyways, but yeah, so I feel like he definitely has the talent. No doubt about it. Like Real Madrid paid like $2-3 million for a 16-year-old, which is insane. So and he definitely has the talent, and he did play nicely last season. It's just that he's not getting game times at Madrid, and it's something that Arsenal has been looking for. So it sort of works for all the party involved. It's just to see that if he is really able to emulate his Sociedad form for Arsenal.
Do you think it'll interfere with Smith Rowe's minutes? Or Smith Rowe will going back to playing Europa League? I think he's done enough
Yeah.
probably to stay in. I think it's Odegaard's to sort of take his
Yes.
place in a way for him to. The onus is on him. So, but yeah, I think it's obviously you need to have options.
Yeah.
The things are looking up, I think, for Arsenal.
Yeah.
It seems for everybody
Yeah.
else.
That's all right.
I think Arteta got really lucky that Willian and all the Brazilian contingent, right? They had to self-quarantine, and Arteta was forced to play. He was supposed to play Saka as a right winger, Smith Rowe. He was supposed to play Lacazette.
That's true, actually.
Otherwise, Willian was getting game time he was starting every
Yeah.
game before, right?
That's what
And even the FA Cup game that did Willian start in the FA Cup
I
game?
don't.
Yeah, I think he did.
He did. Okay.
Yeah, and Arsenal lost.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I've seen a single signing impact negatively
Oh
to a
yeah.
season as much as
Like Willian
like
has not had an impact. Like it's almost like we are playing with 10 bodies on the field. Like whenever he's around.
yeah, he slows everything down. And I was reading one of the articles, right, that he was one of the instigators during the rough patch of Arteta, right, to get him out of the
Oh,
club.
really? That's really surprising. Like considering he was giving him Arteta was giving him game time despite him being shitty almost. So
Yeah, ex-Chelsea players, right?
I mean, now Lewis has been good for sure.
They love to get their managers sacked.
Arsenal is the retirement home for Chelsea players.
Well, yeah, let's debate about.
Well,
I think Holding has been pretty solid for you, to be honest. Like Holding has been
Yeah.
surprisingly, like he doesn't make any risks, he doesn't make any mistakes, he keeps his game simple.
Yeah, surprisingly, defenders is not like an area of problem that Arsenal have had, which is really surprising.
Yeah.
Like at the start of this season, I felt like we definitely were missing centre backs because Gabriel was sort of an unproven entity, and Saliba is shipped out to loan. But yeah, he was pegged for big things, but he was definitely not sort of big name player at this point. But definitely centre back doesn't seem like an issue for us. Even Cedric and Palomari are playing nicely whenever they are being called on for all the Europa League games and all the Carling Cup games. So, yeah, I definitely feel defense is good. I feel like right back position, maybe we might do better. Bertrand has been linked somehow. I don't know if how much truth is there to that story, but sorry.
Bertrand's a left back.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah, so isn't Cedric a right back?
Yeah,
Anyway,
he's playing
yeah,
left back
whatever.
also. But yeah, never mind. So yeah, I definitely feel like there is scope for us to do better, but seems like a good foundation to sort of have that push in the second part of the season for sure.
Yeah, I think, like I said, things are looking up. One team for whom things are not looking up is Chelsea. So a quick word on Lampard. I think this was coming for a while. So is anybody shocked?
I was going to say I was shocked that Lampard left before Oli or Arteta left.
No, I mean it was
because
last few months it definitely seemed like, and with Roman Abramovich's like track record of sacking managers left right, it definitely felt like it was a later decision.
Roman.
Yeah, it was, but then I don't know. Like, I guess having too many options. I think I made a joke about Netflix and stuff like that. Having too many options and not knowing who to play, and it kind of went against Chelsea. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Tuchel's been given a 18-month contract to come and help the German boys. I don't know if those were the only players there that were underperforming. The others were like Ziyech hasn't really kicked on. I mean, I think he's one of their really talented players, and he's been injured quite a bit. You've had Pulisic and Hudson-Odoi, in and out of the squad, maybe due to injuries and due to form as well. I think the midfield has been one of the weakest links, apart from probably, I was going to say defense, but I think that they do not have a proper midfield going on. And the fact that Kante isn't the old Kante has been a huge miss for them. I think Lampard wanted Declan Rice in instead of Havertz, and that didn't happen. And I think that's been one of the reasons for him kind of being shipped out. Yeah,
that's what I read. There's been a lot of friction between him and Marina. A lot of players I think were not really Lampard signings. There's other players that he wanted. He wanted Tarkowski. I think he wanted Declan Rice. Instead, I think he got Kai Havertz is someone I think they just signed because he was available, and so that somebody else doesn't get it. So I think that was kind of not necessarily part of their plans. And yeah, there's been a lot of talk of Lampard alienating certain players, not talking to them. There's a kind of divide between players who are playing regularly and those who weren't. So there's been a lot of problems actually behind the scenes. And with Roman's track record, I think it's not really a surprise that Lampard lost his job first. So yeah, I mean, let's see Tuchel's coming in.
Instead of incomings, right? Lampard should have focused on like clear out of some of the players. Like Rudiger was linked in summer. Like he should have sold him. Like they should have sold him. Like I think Kovacic also has been pretty much out of form. Jorginho was linked with Arsenal, I remember. They should have made
That would
those
have
kind
been
of
a shitty
deals.
signing, but yeah.
Like because I think I was reading again in the same article. Rudiger was one of the main instigators of, he directly called Roman apparently, Rudiger and Kovacic or something like that. He had a fight with Azpilicueta because Azpilicueta was trying to bring the whole team together, like unite behind the manager and Rudiger because he wasn't getting game time, right? Yeah, I think like Marina, that's where Arteta and Ole, like they get a lot of credit because they had to clear out and they did it quite well. Like they were pretty ruthless in that regards. Like Alexis and all, right? Ozil, Alexis, all these guys. Like I think Frank, in that sense, like I think I have some sympathy for Frank because like Chelsea is like a very political club, right?
It's classic Chelsea, isn't it? That player power.
Yeah.
The epitome of player power.
I mean, it's like karma, right? What goes around comes around. Like Lampard was involved in many sackings himself. Like
No,
Villa-Boas is the one that is the biggest one.
Yeah. So.
But do you think it's a failure of the whole club structure in a way? Because we always get a feeling that Roman just makes all the shots. He just doesn't get the results he's looking for, and he will just maybe sign some shiny new toy for the club, and then when the managers or the players don't start performing, he's like, okay, doesn't matter how many games they have like been given to really prove a point. But I feel that there needs to be a maybe better structure to the club in terms of Roman should not be involved in all these things. His job is not to run the club in footballing aspects, at least. So
yeah, but I mean, I hold a slightly different view. I mean, Roman. I mean, there have been times when Lampard has made like really blatant errors. I think he played something ridiculous like Kovacic. Who was it? I think Mount and
in midfield.
Yeah, and Kai Havertz in midfield. Like that was ridiculous. I mean, it's and then on the other hand, so here's the other side of the story. Chelsea were probably the only team that spent like a lot in a COVID-stricken climate. Apart from, so as a owner, you feel like you've gone really ahead and backed him with all the players. Well, I guess, without Declan Rice, but he bought probably like about 7 to 8 really new players so maybe Lampard is probably not ready to win the championship with this team, but he should have at least been there. Right now, what, Chelsea are in 8th or something?
No.
So, I mean, I don't think that's something. Wait, what was that? Maybe I'm wrong.
They are lower.
But they are definitely not in the top 4. Oh,
I think the job came too soon for him. That's for sure. I don't think he was ready.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't think he didn't really achieve much with Derby. I mean, and he got the job. So.
But I fear Chelsea when they sack their managers, right? That's when they win big trophies. Like Di Matteo won the Champions League as an interim manager. Benitez won them Europa League as an interim manager. I think Gus Hiddink also, he
always comes in and wins
he won
a
them
couple
an
of
FA
trophies,
Cup.
Gus Hiddink.
Like Avram Grant of all people got them in Champions League.
Yeah, but you know what? That was a team which had that winning mentality right through because of they were mostly using what Jose built in his first spell. But this team is very young. They don't really have that.
He has all the tools now at his disposal. Like he has the attacking talent in front of him. Like it's up to him now. Pulisic, Ziyech, Havertz and Werner, right? Like that's a top class front four.
Giroud as well. So
Giroud, yeah.
Hudson-Odoi,
Yeah,
Tammy Abraham, Mount has really stepped up as well. So yeah, I mean, Chelsea fans can look forward to exciting football. That's for sure. I think we have tools. So yeah, we will see what happens. I think we are over time. So I don't know if you guys had any last footnotes to discuss.
Yeah, I think just kudos to West Ham for the way they have been playing under Moyes.
Oh yeah.
So to me, it feels like this is very much the Everton of Moyes that was like spring surprises against Man United of like 2008, 2009. Some of the best teams have struggled to play against Moyes, and I feel he is kind of replicating something similar with West Ham this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think Suchek has been there. They're one of the, I think, best signings so far. And I was reading Edin Dzeko might be heading to West Ham as well. So if West Ham managed to sign Edin Dzeko, I think that would be a coup.
And they have Benrahma as well, so he's still trying to get the best out of
it. Hey, the best player they're trying to acquire is Jesse Lingard. I'm just saying that.
Best player for who?
That's
West Ham or Manchester United?
We'll find out when West Ham play Arsenal next.
Isn't he called Messi Lingard for obvious reasons?
And Lingardino also.
Yes.
Yeah.
Multiple name.
Lingardino.
That too, yes.
All right then. If that's it, we can wrap. Slightly longer show today, but I think it's warranted given that we had to discuss pretty much the entire half season. So yeah, hope you guys had a good time with your.
Yeah. It was nice having. Thanks for having us.
Thank you guys.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do more.
Great having you guys too.
Yeah, definitely. Hope you guys enjoyed the show as well. We will be back soon, hopefully. So see you next time. Bye.
Bye. Take care.